So therefore, what we need to learn first is, and this is in relation to vows, imputed objects are imputed. Imputation means something that doesn't exist on its own side. It exists from our side, but not from its own side. That is called imputation. An imputed phenomenon or an imputed object. For example, a horn on a rabbit is an imputed object. It does not exist. It does not exist at all. To say it exists, to draw it in pictures, and to make stories about it, and then scare children with it and say, oh, you know, if you're very naughty, this horned rabbit's going to come and poke you and hurt you and bite you. That fear from a child arises from an imputated phenomenon that does not exist on its own side. So when you explain to the child, hey, there's no such thing. There's this artist, and he was a very good, he had good imagination, and he just made that up, and someone else came along and made that story to scare kids, and you're a kid, you got scared, so you don't have to be scared anymore. There's no such thing. And then you show them encyclopedias of rabbits. There's not one rabbit with a horn. You take them to the zoo. There's no, to the pet shop, there's no horn. So the fear of the child goes away. Why? He realizes that it's not real. Similarly, when we have a vision of someone, or we have an idea of someone is greedy or selfish or not nice, it's an imputation. Why is it an imputation? If that person was inherently not nice from their side, they would have no friends. No one would like them at all. Every single person has a friend. Similarly, if we focus on this imputation, whether it is correct or not is not the point. What the point is that we habituate ourselves to react with such a person in such a manner, again and again and again and again and again. This habituated action is our prison. Why? It will only become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Pretty much it will envelop people we love. Pretty much it will envelop people that we care about. Pretty much it will envelop everyone we come near. And that's the fear. Does anybody have any questions on that? Maybe I'll pick on a few people and ask questions then. Let's ask Kenda Roshi. Not taking responsibility, is that inherently negative or not? All right.
Yes.
Surprising deep voice. Okay, why?
Well, when we do an action, either we create the results of it, whether we own it or we don't own it.
Okay.
But if we're we must own our action. So if we're confronted and we say, "Oh no, but I didn't," and then other things result.
Is habitual? Is there a difference between habitual irresponsibility and irresponsibility?
No, because doesn't it go in the cycle? It comes back and reinforces. It becomes habituation.
So if you don't know something and you're irresponsible, it's the same as if you know it and it's habitual, correct?
Yes.
Incorrect. So if you've been transported to somewhere in Africa and you're living in a hut and you're supposed to get the water from the river 50 kilometers away and you didn't do that and you didn't know you had to do that because you're looking for the faucet and then they say you're irresponsible. Are you? Do you collect the karma being irresponsible?
No, you have to.
Do you collect the karma being irresponsible means pushing your weight on someone else and letting other people do something for you that you're supposed to do and you don't care about the pain it brings them? Maybe double the work or double the time. So unknowing irresponsibility and habitual irresponsibility, is there a difference?
Well, if you break a law, you suffer the consequences. Whether you know or you didn't know, you still have to.
No. Unknowing irresponsibility and knowing and habitual irresponsibility, is there a difference? Yes. What is the difference?
Because you were never you were never taught what is right or wrong.
Very good. And the other one is habitual irresponsibility.
You know, you do it again.
Correct. And habitual irresponsibility and unknowing irresponsibility is both harmful to the receiver. It is both harmful. Which one will be more severe?
The knowing, the habitual one.
And why is habitual irresponsibility and unknowing irresponsible negative? Why does it incur negative result? Why?
Because it still causes harm.
Correct. Harm on what basis?
On the basis of the person you harm.
On the basis of a person who can feel harm.
Yes.
Correct. So therefore, there's a difference between habitual irresponsibility and unknowing irresponsibility, correct?
Yes.
And it has negative karmic repercussions, correct? It has negative repercussions on what basis?
On the basis the other person is able to be harmed.
Correct. Another being is able to be harmed. If there's not another being that can be harmed, and it's habitual or unknowing irresponsibility, is there still negative karma?
No.
Everybody agree? Who agrees, raise your hand. Who doesn't agree, raise your hand. Some of you don't have hands. Okay. Just both is everybody's like, okay, my conclusion, some of you don't have hands. Miss Mustang there didn't raise her hands. You can raise your feet, it's all right. I like her, she's quite cute. She helps Mustang, so I call her Miss Mustang. Isn't that nice? The lady helper of Mustang. How nice. Our little Taro. What was the question? I forgot. Getting a little hot and itchy. What was the question? I forgot. You forgot too.
If there's no object to be harmed,
there's no receiver of the object of our irresponsibility. Is there still negative karma accrued from being irresponsible, either intentional or unintentional? Unknowing or unknowing, sorry. Is there still negative karma that arises from that?
Yes.
But you said no.
I've changed my mind.
Upon reflection. Do you change your hairstyle upon reflection in the mirror? No. Some things you don't reflect. Okay. We like your hair. Tell me the difference. How is it when there's no recipient of harm of your irresponsibility, there's still negative karma that's accrued? How?
Because you create an action that you have to suffer the result.
But there's no one to receive that action, so how do you have to suffer? So if I slap you or I slap the curtain, the karma is the same? My motivation is to hurt a curtain.
No, you reinforce the imprint in your mind.
What's the imprint in my mind? Hurt curtains.
Just let your anger out.
Okay. So if I slap a curtain,
and if there's an environmental, if a person's standing there, it might arise again.
Excellent. Now, therefore, whether there's an obvious, living, conscious recipient, I'm not talking about a plant, a conscious recipient that can feel pain, and you are irresponsible to them, either it's intentional or not, there's still karma. Correct? But if there's not a living recipient, and you're still irresponsible, you still collect negative karma, correct? Why? Because who are you harming now? That's right. How do you harm yourself when there's no outer recipient of your irresponsibility? How do you harm yourself?
Because you reinforce in your mind.
What are you reinforcing?
The imprint.
Okay, so if you reinforce the imprints in your mind, why is that negative? Why is that harmful?
Because if the right environmental cause comes along, you'll react in that way.
That's right. So therefore, if we are irresponsible, whether it is knowing or unknowing, there are still karmic repercussions. Which one will be heavier?
Well, knowing.
Why knowing heavier?
Because of your intention.
What are the two factors that arises from that? You've mentioned it already. It's negative because A and B, only two factors.
Your motivation?
No, the person that's receiving the harm and your reinforcement that when you're reinforced, you'll harm more in the future. You understand? So therefore, knowing intentional irresponsibility is harmful. Unknowing, unintentional irresponsible is always harmful. Why? Because unknowing will lead to knowing if it's not stopped. So a person who is irresponsible and creates harm, setbacks, not following deadlines, not falling in with other people, and is harming them. When it harms them, and it's intentional, that creates negative karma. Correct? So therefore, if a person views an irresponsible person in a negative way, is that subjective or objective?
Subjective.
Why is that subjective? The person is irresponsible.
But you don't know. I mean, you haven't looked deeper. Maybe you don't know.
Okay, we hang around with a person, go out with him for a year.
But isn't that you're imputing again?
Yes. At my level, I have only evidence to impute on. But from the side, for the sake of argument, from the person's side that's irresponsible, do they not create a greater harm because they allow other people to increase their imputation? So even if they do nothing and they just sit there and look pretty, do they not harm people around them? So therefore, a person who has vows to be responsible, and they're not responsible and they break their vows, just by not doing anything is very harmful. It's the biggest harm. Why? They allow other people to increase their imputations and their holdings and their negative use, and they don't let them practice. That's why people who break their vows, they're expelled from the monasteries. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's how we learn in the monasteries. We interact and we talk. We examine. We don't just sit and lecture. We actually challenge and think. Sometimes we'll take this side, sometimes we'll take this side, sometimes we'll take this side. It's called debate. We have to challenge. Why? When you challenge and you debate it out just like Kendall and I just did, when you have come to a clear understanding, then from that is born faith. From faith comes practice and transformation. Practice is application of what you have learned. Comes transformation. And the transformation will be firm and strong and irrevocable, cannot go backwards when it's based on sound observation and knowledge. That's exactly how we do it in the monasteries. Much more complicated, of course. And very fast. Very, very fast. You have to go back and forth, back and forth. So therefore, very good, Kendall, very good.